Thank you for hopping on. I'm Chef Summer. This is Crystal Tenpenny, and we're having this little snacks and chat call today to talk about Crystal and her tea company, Teamotions. And then I'm going to share with you guys some fun little recipes at the end using her teas. And we're just going to have some good old girl time and talk. So normally we would be snacking and chatting together, but obviously because of COVID and the year that we're in, we're doing things virtually just like the rest of you guys. So it'll be kind of fun and interesting to do that. So first, I want to introduce Crystal Tenpenny. She is the owner, like I said, of Teamotions Tea and a longtime friend of mine. We have known each other for over a decade, I believe since 2009. Is when we first met. And I'm probably going to embarrass Crystal by telling this story, but I have to share how our friendship came to be. So I had actually just moved here in 2009 with my husband from Corpus Christi, Texas, and I didn't know a single soul. But in my true extroverted self, I was like, well, I'm not going to sit around like waiting to make friends. And granted, this was back in 2009 before, you know, we really had like Instagram and like it was just like a different time. Like even meeting people online dating wise was still kind of taboo. People didn't really talk about it. So this girl went on to Craigslist of all websites. I know. I don't even know if they exist anymore. And this was pre the not COVID killer, Craigslist killer. And I posted a friends ad. There's like a section where you can do like women meeting women, friends, like platonic, right? Friendships. And so I was like, I don't really want to do like this weird one-on-one date thing, like to find friends. So I'm just going to post this ad and say, hey, I'm new to town. I would love to meet some new people. How about happy hour at this rooftop bar in PB? And I'm going to have a balloon on my chair, which now if I saw like some random person with like a balloon tied to her chair, like you're just so young and dumb, you don't care, right? So things I would never do today, I'd be mortified. But I legit held a happy hour and had my little red balloon hanging from, maybe we have visitors from Ghost. I don't know, don't worry about my light, guys. IKEA over here. So I had the balloon tied to my chair, and I think like 25 plus women showed
up. A whole bunch of people came.
Yeah, it was like a lot of women, and I would say about 85% of them were really weird and really, I mean, maybe not weird is the right word to say, but just weren't people that like I was interested in hanging out with. Different lifestyles, different things like that. But there was about 3 or 4 of us who really connected that night and ended up like hanging out that entire night. I think we even did we do a sleepover at my place that night with the girls, or was that like that the weekend after?
So because we like went out to the bars and
and I was like, everybody crashed at my place. You lived up in Oceanside, right? Or
right.
You were up North County. Yeah. So thank God for not killing me. If they invited you and a stranger into my home. So that is a story. That is a real life story of how we became friends. And we've stayed connected, even though she doesn't live here in San Diego anymore. And I have moved and come back to San Diego. We've always kind of stayed connected. And she's one of those friends that one thing that I remember fondly about our friendship is when we lived close to each other, we would go for walks along the boardwalk in PB and just talk about our dreams and our ambitions and like, what do we want to do with our life? And I remember you sharing your dreams of owning a tea company. And I was like, I want to be a personal chef, but like, I don't know if I can really do that. Like just kind of talking about these things and to see us kind of come full circle over a decade later has been really, just kind of like a good life story and just like a really, I'm proud to have you as a friend and to have that story and just to kind of see you grow, both of us grow, you know, in the years that we've known each other. So I'm going to turn it over to you because you know me, I can ramble on for an hour and then we'll take up this entire hour. So why don't you introduce Teamotions and how you guys came to be and a little bit about your company?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad that Craigslist was safe back then, and we were able to find each other, which I actually think the story is so funny because I am not extroverted. I am incredibly introverted, but I had moved to San Diego. I'm originally from like Ventura County, and I was a nanny. So I was like working with the baby infant, and I lived in Oceanside, and the same as you, I was like, screw this. I have to find friends. And I guess, honestly, Craigslist was where it was at back in the day. Like there was no such thing as meetup.com or, Facebook meetups or like anything. So, and yes, and it's worked out so well. But for me, so Teamotions is a wellness tea company. I founded it, 10 years ago. And I actually founded it with my sister, who is no longer part of the company. I'm the sole owner now, but we developed a line of tea that could foster physical and emotional wellness. So we blend tea with certain herbs and botanicals and superfoods that have both physical and emotional wellness properties, because we just really believe that to be well is a very holistic journey. It has to do with food that you eat and what you put in your body and the things that we surround ourselves with and what we let in our minds and who we allow around us. And my sister and I had a personal life experience that was the driving factor of this idea, where my sister had lost 2 babies that she had, and I just did not know what to do for her. And so she was drinking tea all the time. I had this idea to put all of these special herbs in it to just help it be so much more than just a cup of tea, very nourishing, healing, and something you could do that was good for you, didn't cost a lot of money, didn't take a lot of time. And so really over the years, Summer can attest to this. We've actually had many different business models trying to find the right one. We've been everything from just a wholesaler with distribution in places like Whole Foods to running an MLM company for a couple of years. And then finally, I've just settled on being an e-commerce brand with a wholesale side too. It's probably I'm in my 3rd year of that model. And along the way, I lived with Summer for a while actually, and she has helped package many packages and fill tins of tea and be my taste tester. So
I gotta say, I used to help her label her tins, and I was the worst. All my tins would come out so crooked. The stickers, I wouldn't get them lined up, and she would just get so frustrated with me. Like, Summer, I'm like, oh, but and then I think I got booted into filling duties. But yeah, the labels, man, I could never get them straight, like to save my life. So to see you kind of grow into, this large scale business, the amount of tea that you are pushing now compared to, filling those teas by hand and those labels by hand. I think a lot of people think that you have to, I know watching you in that part of growing your business helped me when I started mine to remember that I don't have to have it all big, fancy, upscale processes and systems and equipment. And, you can start with what you have. And if you have something that people want, they're going to buy it no matter what. And you don't have to, sometimes we think that we have to have it all figured out before we even start. And I don't know. There's like a poltergeist. I don't know what's happening. I'll delete right through that in the video. So no, really good. So thank you. And I will talk about this later, but I'm going to take a sip while I ask you our second question is, what are your thoughts on New Year's resolutions? Do you have any? Do you set any? What are your feelings on those? Because we're kind of starting this we're starting a new year. I know whether you call them kind of resolutions or not, we tend to try to start anew and maybe take on some new health goals and kind of live a little bit of a better life. So what are your thoughts on it? Do you have any resolutions?
Yeah, well, yes, I am a goal-oriented, super structured type of person.
So you're a list writer. This
I
girl
am.
has She's a list writer, I tell you what.
Well, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can't get it done. So I absolutely believe in I do believe there is something with feeling like you have a new start, right? So like the New Year's are one of the most ultimate restarts. It also comes at such a great time because we have just gotten through like the crazy of the holidays where I feel like kind of no matter who you are, you lose yourself a little bit in those months. And so it's just a time to be like, okay, I know that no holidays are coming up. I can kind of set a routine that doesn't get messed up by a lot of outside forces. But the same with like why a lot of people like to start things on Mondays. You know, it just feels like a clean start that you have, you know, put in your mind that you're going to do, which I have no problem with. I tend to actually just think of a goal and then like immediately start it, you know? But that is because I don't I don't look at like goals and resolutions as just like tangible things. Well, sorry, stop flinging my pen everywhere. Like tangible, like just things. I look at reaching goals as how am I developing myself to be who it is I want to be in life, and where do those goals fit in? So there always has to be a driving, for me at least, I believe like there has to be a deeper reason why you want something. You know, it's not enough to say like, you know, I want to start a new workout regimen because, you know, and you can for vanity reasons, whatever, like they're all there. But if you don't find it in yourself to understand, like, I want to do something every week because I want to be the type of person who says I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, cares about my health, wants to live a healthy life for my husband. I want to serve the people in my community. And to do that, I have to be healthy. So I always have these things that come from like a very deeper place. But I wanted to touch on, I also am like an avid reader. I read everything. I have read thousands of books. And one of the best books I've ever read on the topic of like kind of being able to achieve your goals is a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And it simplifies it so well. It's basically how do you build good habits and how do you break bad ones? And it's all based on simple like psychology and human needs as to why we do things. And so he basically is like, you're only going to do things you enjoy. So in your pursuit, you know, to reach your goals, it's all goals are a stack of habits essentially. So if you can learn a system to do one thing and then another thing, which leads to another thing, you end up reaching your goal because a goal is a whole bunch of tiny little steps in between. It's okay, you still look phenomenal. And I, you know, and you pair them with things that you enjoy. So if you want to, you know, be healthy and work out every day, but you hate running, then don't choose running as your workout. You know, because you're never going to do it. Do what you like. I like to take a walk on the beach. Great. Then I'm sure you'll take walks on the beach more times than not because it's enjoyable. You know, and then you just start, you stack. So you basically set out your day. I wake up and the first thing I do is I walk. And then the second thing I do is have my cup of coffee. And then the third thing I do is take a shower. And then the fourth, and you just
kind of build on that.
Build them and reward yourself along the way. You know, you don't get your cup. If you are a coffee drinker, I know you love your coffee in the morning. You don't get to have your cup of coffee, which would be like the reward until you've done something that was a precursor to getting that. And it's not about like punishing yourself per se. It's just a habit has to come before that thing, because essentially you'll get into this place where it almost feels alien to you to not do the thing that is what you do, like right when you wake up. So a little bit of a tangent, but yes, I'm all about goals and resolutions.
I don't read a lot of books, but I listen to a lot of books, and I did listen to that Audible book. And that was one of the things that I do remember that I've taken away from that was a couple of things, was the deeper reasoning. Like, you're not really going to lose weight until you have like a real desire for a person life that you want to live. Like, it can't just be like, oh, I just want to lose 5 pounds, because by Tuesday you're standing in front of the fridge eating potato salad, in your pajamas. I've never done that. I have no idea where that came from. But yeah, that and the reward system. I've never done that when I've set goals, and listening to that book definitely has helped me. I do the exact same thing now too, where I set little rewards. And you're right, it's not about punishment, but it's when I have those moments of weakness where I'm like, oh, I'm feeling too tired, or I said I was going to do this, but like I'm just not in the mood. Screw it. I'm just gonna go eat fast food. You remember that reward that you set yourself for, and it kind of gets you through those like tougher moments when you're wanting to give up. So definitely good book. I have to make sure to share it because it is a really good book. Okay, so leading into talking about New Year's resolutions, how can tea be beneficial for somebody who wants to implement tea into a self-care routine?
So many ways. Tea is just so good for you. So tea is the second most consumed beverage in the world next to water. And so I think most people are aware that like there are some, there's beneficial things to tea. There are phytochemicals and catechins and tannins and antioxidants and a whole bunch of very nourishing properties that come along with a drink that has also 0 calories. But tea itself is perfect for developing a habit with. I own a tea company, so I drink a lot of tea in the day, but I also do have a habit of like when I drink it and why I'm doing it. And tea forces you to slow down. Tea, especially when you're preparing it, actually you have to engage, for the couple minutes it takes. Where I think we think a lot of, when we think of coffee, I think of like being on the run, like you can just go get your coffee and do whatever. Tea actually forces you to slow down. Our specific line of tea, the way that we blended them and named them is to actually help bring awareness where you look at the tea and kind of figure out, like, how do I feel? What do I need right now? So it's much more of like a self check-in process. And then tea is a perfect like accompaniment to usually anything else you enjoy. So if you, love to journal, a cup of tea and your quiet time with that, or tea and reading, or it's a great way to wind down. But I think tea is just really great at having like a tangible, delicious thing that you can do every day, feel really good about, that's really good for you, that honestly, is a couple cents a cup and doesn't take much time, but makes you feel incredibly good.
Yeah, it's kind of a whole mindfulness ritual of just making the tea, steeping the tea, waiting the few minutes for it to steep, pouring it into your cup. And then I don't know what, maybe this is just my brain. Maybe you can tell me if this is true or not, but I feel like tea cools down so much faster than coffee. I don't know why that is. So it's like, you got to drink your tea when you make it. Like, of course I'm drinking it iced right now, but that moment of like when you first brew it and that warm tea kind of sitting with that first cup. Okay, so we're still moving on with tea, using it for a self-care ritual because it's kind of a ritual in itself when you're making it. And, starting the new year fresh and feeling inspired and setting goals. So I want to know, as a friend and as a business owner and a woman, what is getting you inspired lately, and what makes you feel like your best self besides tea?
Gosh, I love coming into a new year because I feel like the possibilities are just so endless. You have the whole year to reach stuff. I love, Summer knows this, I love anything that is health related of like any kind. I'm an insatiable learner, but really so in business, I'm having even so far, the best year yet. Like we've just been scaling and scaling and scaling. And it's really taken a lot of years for me to learn really how to do digital marketing correctly and how it scales your business. And you had mentioned this earlier, finally having to put in a lot of process systems in place because I have employees now who, when you're a one woman show, you just do all the things. And now I have to actually create ways for other people to be able to fill tea and pack orders and order stuff online and do customer service. And I really just love like this idea that I still have so much potential. And that's really what drives me, is I really am driven by like, who can I become? What can I reach? Who can I help? How can I help? And so that's kind of where, for business, that's where I'm at, like learning and connecting with all the people, like learning all the things and knowing all the people I need to know to just keep going. And then personally, we've had a year of lockdowns and COVID, and I think I'm going to just really focus on, putting myself first again. Running a business is really hard. I think when you're also trying to like put yourself first, like the balance isn't always there. This year, I can feel that I'm going to have seasons of being able to really having to put all the effort into Teamotions, and then I can kind of switch to me, and we'll probably go back in forth, but just doing things that I enjoy. Like, I want to come to San Diego and just enjoy the city that I used to live in, just being outside, going to the beach, learning things I want to learn, maybe even tending to myself even more. But really what I honestly, to answer your question, like what drives me the most is just this concept of like, how can I just continually get better, even if it's like minutely, is probably really what drives me in my life.
Yeah, I love that. I love, I am going to step out and grab our snack of the day. But before we do, I want to ask you, what is your favorite snack, either of all time or recently? What are you enjoying snacking on? Share with us.
Oh, snacks. I love snacks. I actually really love food, which was why living with Summer was always so great, because she was always making food. Oh my gosh, I am probably not that cool with my snacks. I live in an area where food is everywhere, like agriculturally grown. So I'm always snacking on fruit. I love to bake. So like chocolate chip cookies are my favorite snack. What else do I like? I like sweet treats. Those are my snack choices.
Okay, good. So I think you're going to like the recipe that I was inspired by with your tea, because it is a sweet treat. But because we are talking about New Year's resolutions and kind of fresh starts and having everything in moderation and balance, it's going to be really tasty. So I'm going to pause this conversation. I'm going to go grab the snack, and we'll be right back. Where's my camera? There we go. Do you want to talk about some of the ingredients we're looking at?
Yeah, so Seek Peace, it's a coconut rooibos chai. It's a caffeine-free tea, so there's actually not tea itself in there, just herbs. It is rooibos-based with dandelion and milk thistle, and then all the chai spices, which are like pepper and cardamom and cinnamon and ginger, I think, cloves. So it's a traditional chai, but chai is normally a black tea base. We put it in a rooibos base, which just really increases the nutritional value. Rooibos is the most nutrient dense herb on the planet. So you get vitamins and minerals and B vitamins and all kinds of stuff. And it's actually our best selling blend. So it's no surprise that it's also your favorite, but it's a really mellow chai. So it's not as spicy as most chais. That's
what I was going to say. Yeah, it is my favorite tea. And it's not as, like you said, spicy as a normal chai tea. I feel like I get hit with the holidays, like every time I drink a chai tea. that flavor. And this one is light. You could drink it like I'm drinking it now over ice because it's the middle of January and it's like 85 degrees in San Diego. So I can't complain about the weather, but it's light, it's fruity, it's but also, you know, vanilla-y and caramely and those warm undertones, but not so heavy. So love it. I can drink it cold or hot. And that, you guys have to smell this tea. It smells so good. And so that was kind of my inspiration for this dessert. And it just came out of the oven. And I'm going to show it to you. It is a tea infused apple crumble. And so I'll show some pictures of how I made it because we're not in my kitchen right this second. But what I did is I sliced Honeycrisp apples and soaked them in about 4 cups of tea infused hot water and let them sit for about 2 hours. And they kind of turn a little darker brown. You can see that the tea kind of soaks up into the flavor of the apples. And then we baked it with a quick, and this is what I love about this recipe, is it's like you don't even really need a recipe. We call this like a campfire dessert. It's really just whatever you have on hand. But you're going to use about, I wouldn't even say 1 part. So what I did is about 2 tablespoons of flour to 1 cup of oatmeal, rolled oats. And you're going to cube butter into that, a little touch of salt, mix that, put that crumble directly on top of your apples and bake at 375 for about 50 minutes to an hour. And what I did is you could do this in just like a pie dish. You don't have to do it in individual portions, but because we want to do everything in moderations and we're talking about rewards for setting goals, right? This could be a little reward at the end of your day. And it just smells so good. So the other thing I did, and you don't have to do this, but because the tea is so beautiful in itself, I also mixed some of the tea leaves into the crumble itself. So you kind of get that extra chai flavor, and it's just caramely and delicious and yummy. And then on top of that, I have a recipe that I have been making for years with matcha green tea. And it's a coconut ice cream. So it's dairy free, which is a little bit healthier for you. Coconut, because there's coconut in your tea. And so what I did is I substituted, instead of doing matcha, we did bespeak peach tea. And so you're going to take a can of full fat coconut milk and you're going to bring it up to a soft boil, add the tea, add sugar, let it steep for a couple hours. Then I strain it. I add some vanilla seeds to it, refrigerate it overnight, and then you just turn it in your normal ice cream maker at home. And it just is like bam on bam of this creamy, dairy-free coconut. I'm about to drop this all over my computer. Ice cream with the crumble of the baked apples underneath. Oh my God, can you see that?
Oh, yum. Yes.
Oh, I kind of want to eat this.
You should eat it.
I know. I gotta get a little bite. Otherwise, this isn't the Food Network. You'll just see me chewing forever. Oh my God, are you serious?
That was
fire alarm.
Perfect timing.
And then I am treating myself with the coconut ice cream crumble. Oh my gosh, it is like melting. Oh, we got to get off this call so I can eat this. And I'll share the recipe so you guys can try it at home.
Well, I'll be coming to visit you so that you can make me this recipe.
Yes, I will definitely make it for you. All right, before we go, how can people connect with you online? How can they find you and your teas? Let's give them all the handles, girl.
Yeah, well, our website to purchase it is teamotionstea.com. And then, of course, we love IG. So our IG handle is @teamotions.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I apologize about the light, the fire alarm, the dog, everything that could go wrong during a live recording went wrong, but we made it. It's the way life happens. And I appreciate you and love you so much. And thank you so much for doing this. And we will, if you guys have any questions, definitely drop them below, and Crystal and I will check back and hopefully answer them for you guys, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.